wondering, let's talk first about retail sales because we're coming out of Black Friday. Does the market sniff and wonder and think that they can get a good picture of retail sales just in a day or two?
No.
Okay.
And that's just it. It's one day. It's really important for a lot of retailers. To me, it's a lot more hype than reality, though, mainly because actually the busiest shopping day is typically Christmas Eve. Right, you have a lot of people who are making those last-minute purchases. Black Friday is really important, and some of the history here is actually kind of interesting. Back in the 1930s, Franklin Delano Roosevelt tried to move Thanksgiving a week earlier. So instead of being the fourth Thursday of November, he tried to make it the 3rd. And there was just an uproar over it. His motivation is he thought that, hey, if we move it earlier, we'll give more people more time to shop and they'll spend more. But they didn't. It actually just meant that people would just spend it over a longer period of time. And actually, you got a little bit of, I think, almost holiday fatigue setting in, because if you use as your benchmarks there, you have the bookend of Thanksgiving and then you have Christmas. If you extend that period of time, then maybe people aren't as enthusiastic about the holidays.
Modern day Black Friday, I think, has been watered down. It used to be a big deal. Remember the camping out and the fist fights?
Sure.
And, well, that's when it was good.
That's right. Remember Tickle Me Elmo and things like that?
But now it's a month. It's been going on for a couple of weeks at least.
Yeah.
And
well, I did all my shopping. It was, I think, back end of January.
Well, that's
so you take advantage of all those returns and you get a discount. Just store it in your basement. That's fine.
Okay, this is the way the economists think. The rest of us, though, and then there's Cyber Monday, which is coming up. So,
yeah.
But you said Christmas Eve, huh?
Yeah, Christmas Eve is very popular because you get those people who realize that, oh shoot, I forgot to buy something for Aunt Mildred or something like that.
It's 99% guys that are doing that.
Right? Actually, demographically, yes, it is.
Yeah.
But there has been the blurring of the lines between the holidays. I mean, think about Amazon. What they do with their Amazon Prime days, they tried to basically create Black Friday in July when they started that, to not make companies so dependent on this intense period of time of spending. Because for some retailers, the holiday season can represent 20 to 50% of their sales for the entire year. And so it is very much feast or famine throughout the rest of the year. So they're trying to spread that out a little bit.
I see inflation made the news last week, but again, we got to tell people just because inflation comes down, that doesn't mean that prices are coming down.
That is right. There are some items where we are seeing a decline in prices. Broadly speaking, with durable goods, and so those would be things like used and new cars and trucks, washers, dryers. We have seen some of those prices actually decline, but prices overall are still rising. Inflation is the continued increase in prices. And one of the things I think that can really bring that home is if you look at what did it cost you to feed that family at Thanksgiving time, as far as, were you serving turkey? Were you serving beef? Were you serving chicken, the cranberries, all that, all the different prices that go on. We have seen turkey prices decline about 6% from a year ago. But if you were serving like a beef roast, those prices are up compared to a year ago. If you are looking at the cost of the pies, those actually declined in general. But yeah, it's really interesting how this year we actually saw a decline in the overall price of what was typically served at that table from last year, but those prices are still up nearly 20% from 2019.
Yeah, if you watched football on Thursday, of course, they did really a great tribute all the way through all three shows about John Madden, but really it wound up with the game on the late game with the Packers and the Dolphins, where it was all about the turducken, which was kind of so we almost should do a turducken index. But I've known people that have done it. I've never had it myself.
I have not tried it either. Logistically, I'm not sure how I pull that one off. I know. I might not have the stomach to stuff those birds together.
It looked like Leroy Butler was handling it pretty well. Let's talk about the week ahead. Is there anything coming up that we need to know about, or that you are interested in particular?
Yeah. So this past week, it was actually really nice and relaxing in terms of the data that came out. But this upcoming week, really important. It is the first week of the month. And as a result, we are going to be getting some market moving indicators. ISM Manufacturing, so the Institute of Supply Management, they're releasing their manufacturing index, so kind of a little gauge of the temperature and health of the manufacturing sector. We know that has been basically in a recession for 2 years. Now, we also then get services, a similar index there. That has been doing a lot better. So there's been this bifurcation. That is, one doing better and one doing worse. We're going to see if that trend continues. But the big news is probably going to be on Friday with the employment situation report. We had the distortions for the October numbers. We're going to have to see what happens with the November ones.